At 3, there's a fork in the road. If you are already a leader, they know it and they get easier. They're happier usually. If you're not a leader, you're more the pleaser style or even the authority, they're more likely to go the other way and try and take control.
We walk on eggshells because she gets set off so easily.
When you're disciplining a child, it's all business. There's no emotions. None. When you're playing, it's all crazy. I used to chase my kids around the house with underpants on my head. Fun is their love language. Play is their love language. Welcome to the BratBusters Parenting Podcast. My name's Lisa Bunnage. I'm a parenting coach. I'm a mom. I'm also a grandmother.
And I'm Amy Bunnage, Lisa's daughter, and I handle the marketing and planning here at BratBusters. While I don't have kids, each episode will dive into parenting topics and Lisa will answer your questions. Let's get started.
Okay, sweetie, what are we talking about today?
So today's topic is knowing when to pick your parenting battles.
Oh, knowing when to pick your battles. Oh, interesting one. Interesting. Because sometimes I will say you pick every battle, and sometimes I'll say careful. So it's a very much a depends topic. Depends on the age, depends on where you're at with your leadership. Like to me, everything's a battle with a child under 12 or under 13 because I'm a leader. So I deal with everything. I don't let anything go. But if you're learning how to do this, you only pick on one thing that you're going to correct if you're learning. And with teenagers, there's a lot of exceptions with them. So
to clarify, if this is someone's first podcast, you're not saying everything is a battle.
No, but if there is something they're doing, what I mean is if they're doing something naughty, I don't let it go. And it's not a battle. I just deal with it. So
I just wanted to make that distinction.
Yeah, but I like the word battle. It makes me feel tough.
Yeah, you're real tough there, Mom.
I know whenever I'm talking to a client, I always like to think I'm tough. I don't know. My son's like that too. It's something we're born with. I always like to act tough, like nothing gets to us or anything. And no one cries quicker than me. But anyway, I like to think I'm tough. And whenever I say to a client, oh, I know I'm tough, and they always answer the same way. They go, no, you're not. They blow my cover every time. But yeah, I like the word battle. It's cool.
Yeah. Okay, let's get right into those questions. So we have Ashley from the United States. How do you choose your battles? What areas can you give on? Or is it more based on frequency? I feel like I'm saying no all day sometimes. Is it normal, or do I feel like I need to choose my battles? 18 months old and one on the way.
Oh, you've just got a toddler. Yeah, you pick your battles. So let's say you want to stop them from hitting. That's your battle that week. And every single time they hit, you say no. And then you physically restrain them if you have to, if they keep hitting, or you take them away from the fun or take fun away from them. It has to be consistent corrective actions right in the moment, but you're just picking that one battle. The other stuff, you might sort of say no, or just kind of pretend you didn't see it, but you're just picking one thing at a time, master that, and then move on. You don't want to try and pick everything in day one, and then you're going to burn out. You can't be saying no all day long. So, but yeah, if they're hitting, that's something I always address first. That's one of my first things.
Okay, we have Claire from the United Kingdom. I have 2-year-old twin girls and a 4-year-old son. They are constantly fighting, slapping, not sharing, headbutting each other. I find it hard to keep calm when this is going on. The tears and tantrums are getting too much. Any advice on how to keep calm?
You have to figure out who's causing it. Often the retaliator isn't the one who instigated it. You have to figure out your kids. Who's starting it? It's usually the younger ones. Not always, but the younger ones are usually trying to get the older ones' attention. Or they're trying to get in on the game that the older one's playing. Because the older ones are generally more interesting, right? Because they're more advanced. So they're usually playing something a bit more interesting. So you got to figure that out first. And then you say to the 4-year-old, if the younger ones are intervening and disrupting the 4-year-old's play or whatever the 4-year-old's doing, you got to say, look, if this is precious to you and you don't want to be interrupted, you need to go into your room and shut the door, and I won't let them in there. They don't want to do that, by the way. They don't want to play all by themselves. So they've got two choices. They can either share whatever they're doing, or if they want to play with that, they can go in their room. And that's sort of how you can start. You can just start with that, see how it goes. But you got to figure out who's causing it. It's almost always the younger one. The older one, they don't really have as much reason to instigate things with younger ones. It might be the older one. But are the younger ones pestering? Pestering is enough to antagonize someone. Like parents say, well, all they were doing was asking to play. And yeah, but that can be really annoying. So yeah, I'd figure it out first and then tell the older one, if you want an independent play, go play in your room. They'll get tired of doing that.
Okay. Anna from the United States. My son will be turning 4 in August. Can I put being bossy on the behavior board for week 3?
No, that's in the attitude department. And who are they being bossy to? Did it say? Oh, no, you can't. It's in the attitude. It would be like putting down be nice. It's in the attitude personality department, sort of. We don't address that. That sorts itself out down the road. Okay. But yeah, that's just the attitude. You never address attitude. You can't. There's no point.
If we're on this topic, what other rules cannot be for the kids?
Listen to me the first time. Stop being snotty. The only thing that they say, attitude is usually what they say. So the only time you can put down anything that comes out of their mouth word wise is no swearing and no name calling. You can put that down. But sometimes when I'm working with families, there are exceptions. When I'm working with families, I'm guiding them along the way. So I do go against some of this sometimes. So if a child's being really bossy to a younger sibling, I will put that on the board, but there's a whole bunch of circumstances around that. It's like when they're playing a game, they'll help them move or boss them around and move for them. So we'll say, you cannot boss your younger sibling around when you're playing a game, something like that. But it's very specific. It's not something that I would recommend with you do on your own because it's very specific to the circumstances. But overall, you can't put no bossy or you can't put no yelling or anything, but you can put no name calling or no swearing on the behavior board, and that's it.
Okay, we have Jessica from the United States. Hi, Lisa. My children are 7, 4, and 2. I recently started listening to you after following only gentle parenting techniques for 7 years. I feel like I have a lot to reset now. My 4-year-old still tantrums, but mostly just totally loses it, screaming, crying, and running if something happens to her. It might be as small as her 2-year-old sister not understanding the game she wants her to play, or one of her sisters interrupting her. It will set her off screaming so loud. She's not necessarily doing anything bad, but when she gets set off, it's so intense. Lately, she gets so sad when the TV goes off, and I say we can't do screen time. Can a behavior board item say no crying or screaming when TV goes off? We walk on eggshells because she gets set off so easily. The other day, I was playing I Spy, and I spied the wrong thing, and she got mad at me. Help.
Yeah, she's just got bad attitude and you can't address that. Work on your leadership skills and that will sort itself out. So you got 3 girls. You've been trying now, it sounds like you've been doing the pleaser style parenting stuff, and that is trying to keep the peace. A lot of that is what that is. And I would rather let the war happen and then deal with it. So if you're worried about her scene, she picks up on that energy and she's going to keep having them. In other words, they only do what works. And if bothers you, she's going to continue to do it. Whereas if a kid started screaming and got upset and I was in front of me, and let's say they're upsetting the whole family, I might just take them in a separate room with me. And then I ignore them. So if they're upsetting the whole family, you still got to go through it. You got to go through the storm to get to the rainbow. If you're afraid of the scene, it's going to keep happening. She picks up on that energy. She's got a lot of control over you right now, and she knows it. That's the only reason she's doing it. They only do what works past the age of 3 or 4. So she's got your number. It bothers you. It's a go-to. The fact that you picked the wrong thing with I Spy, she is just manipulating you. Absolutely. She's not really upset. She's just on a power trip. Look at it that way.
So where would you recommend?
Go to the behavior board, start with a rule there. But I already sort of answered that. When she's having a scene, just let her have it. You can't stop the scenes. She'll eventually realize they don't work. You getting upset is her power trip. That's what you're doing. You're getting upset by it. Don't. Just let it go. Just ignore her when she's having a scene.
I want to dive into this one a little bit more because if you're a parent listening, I know that you get a lot of like follow-up questions from this. So they might say, okay, so what do I put on the behavior board?
On the behavior board? Oh, just pick something else. It can be anything menial. It can be put your shoes in the cubby within 5 minutes of arriving home. You're starting to exercise your leadership. Okay, she's in charge right now and she knows it. So you want to start exercising your leadership and go a roundabout way. It's never addressing her attitude. The attitude is the very last thing to go away. And it happens organically after you become a leader. So you work on your leadership skills by using the behavior board. You might want to check out the boot camp course for 3 to 12-year-olds because you got 3 little ones. The 2-year-old won't be on there yet, but they're the little ones watching you with the older ones. But yeah, she's on a power trip right now. She's manipulating you by upsetting you with all of her yelling and screaming. And the fact that she didn't like, I got this a lot, the fact she doesn't like what you'd said at I Spy, it's such a tell for me. It's like if a parent cuts the sandwich the wrong way. You know what I mean? Like it's so they're looking for any way to control you. It's so menial, but it isn't. It says a lot to me. As soon as you said that, I realized what was going on. She doesn't really care that you said the wrong thing with I Spy. She's just controlling you. She's looking for opportunities to get in there and upset you. And that's her control. So yeah, just stop getting upset when she gets like that. Just say, oh, okay. Like if she's good, that was the wrong one. And she starts screaming in that, just go, oh, what a lovely day out there. Pretend like you don't even see it. And then when she's done, I always say, you ignore the tantrums, the fits, the scenes, the meltdowns. But as soon as they're done and calm down, you say, oh, do you want to sing a song? No, I hate you. I say, okay, never mind. So you try and connect after that. You ignore the crazy and reward the calm. But if you look upset when they're pushing your buttons, they've got you.
I think just in case this is someone's first time listening to you, because I'm trying to listen to this as a first time listener, which is sometimes hard because I've heard so much of your content. But I want to make sure that it doesn't seem like you're just approaching the kid as if you're blaming the kid, saying like they're manipulating, they're in charge.
Well, you've taught them that. That's learned behavior. That is, you've taught them that by getting upset inappropriately, not realizing it. But their tantrums, fit scenes, and meltdowns are their anger. I do not address that. They're angry because things didn't go the way they wanted, even though they know it shouldn't. Like it's usually something that they know they can't have. You turn the TV off. I think that was the same family. You turn the TV off and she gets upset. She knows it has to go off. So she's not even arguing you with anything that's valid. It's just the fact that she's got in this loop of arguing with you. You've trained her to do that. They don't come out of the womb doing that. That's a learned behavior. Okay? So, yeah, she is controlling you. You just haven't seen that yet. But yeah, she is. And they're not happy when they're doing it either. They just do it because they're actually testing you. That story I often tell, it's such a short story, but that kid, I was asked to work with this kid. I'd heard about him. He was a handful. He was 8 years old and I was a volunteer behavioral mentor. And they said, oh, would you, spend an hour with him? We need someone to keep him controlled while we deal with the classroom. So I said, sure. He said to me, I just met him, and he says, if you don't do what I want, I'm going to have a fit. And I said to him, bring it on. Like, I have no fear of you. And he didn't. You could see his face. It was like, oh, she knows what she's doing. So he just instantly changed. And the energy was great. We got along great. He was great with me. He didn't have to do that. He was testing me. She's testing you. They literally are trying to force you into being a leader. That's why they do it. They don't know they're doing that, but that's what they're doing. It's like he instantly calmed down. His whole body language changed. It doesn't always happen that fast, but it did with him. But it was like, oh, she's not going to be bothered by that. Why would I have a fit? Won't bother her at all. So why would he do it? But yeah, it's learned behavior. You can learn her out of it too by ignoring the crazy and rewarding the calm. Check out the pool story. Just Google BratBusters pool story. It'll tell you exactly how I view parenting. I deal with bad behavior, then I focus on the good kid. I don't teach discipline as much as I teach how to connect. It's how you connect, how you have fun with your kids, how you become friends with them. You got to be accountable too. Leaders are accountable. But yeah, it's more about connection than anything. And by the way, when they've got a bad attitude with you, they don't feel as connected as they should. It's the lack of connection that brings on the attitude.
Perfect. I just wanted you to elaborate a little bit more on that because I think it's important that you.
Well, and like you said, though, you said that you're trying to think of it from a new person's attitude. And I can see why it comes across as harsh. But anyone who listens to me for a while realizes I'm all about playing and connecting with kids and having fun with them. But I don't take any crap either. So, I guide them into making good choices. I don't try and stop bad behavior. I want them to do that. I don't try and micromanage kids at all. You can do whatever you want. But if you make a poor choice, there'll be a consequence. That's how I act. But the rest of the time, I'm fun. I'm laughing with them. I've never yelled at a kid. Yeah. So, yeah, you want to be calm. You're calm. When you're disciplining a child, it's all business. There's no emotions. None. When you're playing, it's all crazy. I used to chase my kids around the house with underpants on my head. Fun is their love language. Play is their love language. But if they had acted out or gotten too wild, I probably wouldn't have said anything. Excuse me. I just would have taken the underpants off my head and I would have said, we'll try again tomorrow. Message received. You think they would have acted out the next day? Nope. I don't discuss bad behavior. I just deal with it. Where you put your energy, where you put your focus is what grows. And too many parents are discussing what they don't want their kids to do. I don't do that. I deal with what they've done wrong, but I don't discuss bad behavior. Why would I? It's all negative, and you're making them feel worse. You don't want to make your kids feel bad. I want kids to feel good when they're with me. If they feel good, they do good. If they feel bad, they do bad. You think your daughter looks happy when she's being rude to you and screaming? Nope. She's miserable. So think about it that way. She's manipulating you to become a leader, and she's miserable when she's doing it. So check out my boot camp course. It might be a good fit for you. It's at BratBusters.com. Because you got 3 kids, so it might really help.
Okay. The next question is Summer from the United States. I have 4-year-old twin girls. When you said the fork in the road is 3, I totally believed that and know we messed up. We started the behavior board, but other than that, do you have any specific twin tips? They tend to escalate each other beyond normal siblings that have an age gap would.
I don't really have any twin tips. I mean, there's a lot of twin questions today. I don't have a lot of twin tips necessarily, but they are competitive. So if you have 2 kids who are competitive and they want the same things, you can either have 2 different toys or have timed. Like if they are fighting over something, say, well, you get it for 2 minutes, then you get it for 2 minutes. They get very bored with that and they'll learn how to share. Usually the one who doesn't have it after a while will just go off and find something else to play with. So you go back and forth. So it's like a timeshare kind of thing. So you can teach them that. But other than that, I don't quite know what they're fighting over. And usually there's an instigator. There's usually one who causes more trouble than the other. You got to figure that out. It's a bit of a puzzle. You can even do what I call the fighting interview. You say, okay, so, and you cut the page in half. You just draw a line down the center of a page, put one kid at the top, the name at the top, put the other name at the other side, and then you just write down bullet points. You've got 2 minutes, time it, and you've got 2 minutes to tell me what happened. And then you write out bullet points, what they say happened. Then the other kid gets to talk. They've got 2 minutes. You're just like a detective. And then you're going to say, okay, I've decided you're the one who caused the problem, so you're going to get a consequence. If you can't figure it out, say, I can't figure it out, so you're both going to get a consequence. The reason I do that is you're trying to bore them to tears. They'll stop fighting just to avoid this interview. You want to drag it out, talk slow. Sometimes they love it. Usually the one who loves it is the one who was the victim, because they want to get it. The other one, the one who started it, doesn't want to do it. Also, the truth never changes. So the kid who changed the facts, they're the one usually who's lying. And you don't have to explain why you decided. You just say, I've decided you started it. Not fair. He did say, oh, well, next time it might be the other way. So just impose a consequence. That interview, I've had so many clients who say kids will do anything to avoid the interviews just because they're boring. So drag it out.
Do you want to talk about the fork in the road at 3?
Yeah, the fork in the road, I don't know if it's right at 3, but I always say it's on their 3rd birthday. They blow out the candles and then it happens. If the fork in the road is at 3, that's when they're not toddlers anymore. They have the ability to stop and think before they act. They're getting that ability. So they can use a source of reasoning. At 3, there's a fork in the road. If you are already a leader, they know it and they get easier and they're happier usually. If you're not a leader, you're more the pleaser style or even the authority, they're more likely to go the other way and try and take control. They're either rebelling or they just realize you're not in control. They're going to do it. So that's the fork in the road. Or they might just be, nothing might happen. But if they're going to go one way or the other, it might happen right at 3. And it's usually right around 3.
Okay, so we have Jen from the United States. When I try to read a book or sing ABCs or count, my toddler, almost 3, starts screaming. I stop, he stops, I start trying again, he starts up again. What can I do about this? It's been hard to teach him coloring numbers, colors, etc.
Okay, it's fun for him because as soon as you start something, he knows it's important to you. That's the thing. If he started screaming when you were reading out like some fable or some, story, probably wouldn't bother you as much. You'd just put it down. But it's important to you and he's controlling it. So also, and this is sort of a bit of a slippery slope for me. I don't like to go on about this, but I'm not into accelerated learning. It can be fine, but it's not that important. A lot of kids, when they first start grade 1, they're bored because they've already learned the alphabet. They've learned some of the times table. They've learned, the more you accelerate them with learning, the more likely they are to be bored when they start school. So, or maybe if it's that important to you, you could even put on a video where it's talking about the numbers and that, if it's that important to you. He knows it's important to you. He doesn't respect you, by the way, if he does that. You've got to earn that respect. So work on the leadership skills, and you might want to check out the boot camp course or the free behavior board and start with rules and consequences. But don't put any of that learning on the behavior board. Yeah, he's just manipulating you. He doesn't respect you. So yeah, and he's exercising his leadership by controlling that because he knows it's important to you and he can control it.
Okay, we have Logan from the United States. My daughter, who's 22 months, gets very upset when I'm doing her hair. I think that brushing the knots is maybe slightly painful, but definitely not as painful as she makes it seem. She will cry and hit my hands and move her head in any direction to avoid me touching her hair. How can I better handle the situation to ensure her hair gets put into a ponytail, keeping the hair out of her face, and it's not a battle?
Yeah, it's a little bit tough. You had long hair. Oh, don't roll your eyes at me. Anyway, she had long hair. She literally rolled her eyes when I said that because I was always brushing her hair and I had to. And, but she didn't fight me because I was already a leader. But what I would do is if it really was painful, I used to use this spray. I would just get a spray bottle and I would put water in there and then a little bit of just normal hair conditioner. And it was just like a knot detangler. And I would completely wet her hair and I would start brushing from the bottom on the way up. And then when she was really little, I put her hair into a bun and I would literally just pull it all up. But I did start very carefully. She still didn't like it, but I was already a leader, so she did comply. But yeah, start with the detangler and you can have her do it to your hair potentially. She can spray your hair, so it's kind of a fun thing. Also, I don't like to do this, but I do recommend this with clients sometimes, is let them watch their favorite show on the iPad or whatever only while you're doing their hair. Okay, they will. She's old enough. She's 22 months. She'll start to connect the dots. I can watch that show if I sit still and let them do my hair. And then as soon as she starts fighting, you turn it off. She'll connect the dots. So it's a bit of a bribery, but it's okay to bribe them to get them to do something good, but it's not okay to bribe them to stop doing something bad. Like you would never use their favorite show to stop them from hitting, but you would if you want them to sit still while they're getting their hair brushed. It's a little bit of a difficult one. It might be painful, so it's a little bit difficult. That's why I kind of told you what I used to do with my daughter, was I would spritz it with this, and it was heavily conditioned too. Like it was quite a bit of conditioner in there in that bottle.
Sorry, Logan, my mom has no tips. It always hurt.
And she did dance. And I used to get complimented every day on her hair. She had long, long blonde hair and she was tiny with this long, long blonde hair. So every single day I had to brush it out and I usually braided it. And I braided it. Sometimes I put 8 braids in her head. They were all sticking out in different directions. I had a blast doing it. But she wasn't crying.
No, I wasn't.
No, she wasn't crying.
I'm joking around, but I
was very careful. But she just sat there when I did. She just knew it was part of the day, but I was very quick at it. Then she did dance, hairspray and buns, and oh my God.
So this is what I'm referring to as the day-to-day hair. I think you got really good. The hairspray, and then you have to go from a bun to low slick back, and then you need to have the gel brushed out and you have this hard gel in there and you need to do it all in 30 seconds.
I was the hair mom. We had different moms. There was a couple of us who backstage who were really good at certain things. I was the hair one. I was pretty good because she had such long hair from such an early age and I liked doing it. So I was the hair mom, but I always spritzed all their hair because I would do all the kids. So, and then there'd be another mom doing makeup and another one stripping them down and putting on the next dance costume. So we were like a well-oiled machine backstage, but I was the hair one. So yeah, I was pretty good at it. But it was when I'd watch another mom try and do the hair if she'd never done it before, she wouldn't spray it down first and wet it. Oh, and the kids were all crying, but they had to go on stage, so they're trying not to cry. So yeah, the secret was wetting it down with lots of conditioner in a water bottle.
And we all had these like little mini facelifts at 8 years old because our hair was so tight.
Oh, poor kids. Yeah, their eyebrows were stuck up in their hairline. Yeah, it was brutal. And the back, well, because it all had to be done so fast. At your worst, you were 8 years old and you were dancing in the next level and 2 up. She danced and she had 11 numbers she had to do for every concert. 11. That's 11 costumes, 11 different makeup, different hair. And it was all done within like 4 or 5 hours. It was brutal, B-R-oodle. But yeah, she got used to it. And I kind of knew how to make it less painful. So it wasn't a negative. It was just, you have to sit there and I did spritz it down a lot with this conditioner in the water.
Every extracurricular has its thing. Like I know that hockey, sometimes they can start at like 4 a.m.
Yeah, well, had I known what I was getting into with dance, I probably wouldn't have done it. Or maybe I would have, but it was all the traveling around to all the competitions, and it was brutal. Early morning, we'd be driving down to some concert or competition, and people would just stare at her. She looked like a little 50-year-old woman in a pint-sized body with all this hair and makeup. But yeah, just make sure that you condition the hair and wet it all down and have a little show on that she only gets when you're doing her hair. You can turn a negative into a positive.
Okay, we have one final question. So we have Rose from the United States. I've been binge listening to the podcast, and it's truly made such a difference in my confidence in myself as a leader with my relationship with my kids. I have a 3.5-year-old, and I'm having a hard time parenting when we're out in terms of my kids or other kids and my daughter interacting with them. An example is when my daughter and her friend were playing well with a toy, the other kid starts grabbing it away. My daughter starts calmly asking her friend to stop. It continues, escalates with the friend continuing to grab, leading to eventual screaming. I wanted to interject, but I never want to parent another kid. When it escalates, even when it's not related to my kid or her doing anything wrong, this time at least, do I still do the same rule and punishment? Having a hard time figuring out how to parent when other people's kids are involved.
Well, that depends. Are you Are you babysitting those other kids? Then I would do the same thing. I'd say, no, you don't take it away. And then I would hand it back to my kid. So, but if the parents are around, I say nothing. Nothing. I just take my kid and go home. No way would I parent another kid around parents. Never. I would never say anything. Nothing. Nothing. You're just hanging out. Find better kids to play with. Just, it's all the parents, right? So if they're not doing the right thing by their kids, just find other parents and kids to play with. That's what I did. I just avoided the kids that were being mean to my kids. My kids were more passive. They never would have fought back. So, and we did have the odd friend who had a nasty kid, and it was all the parents doing, of course. They didn't correct it. So then we just didn't see them anymore, period. That's how it went.
Okay, that was everything.
Oh, okay. Oh, that was easy. That was knowing when to pick your battles. Yeah. And like I said, it's kind of a gray area because sometimes you want to pick all the battles once you get good at this. But when you're learning, you just pick one battle at a time, one behavior that you want to solve at a time. And it's never in the attitude department. It's in the actions department, usually, unless it's swearing or name calling. It's the only things you can put on the behavior board that come out of their mouth. Even spitting, I might put spitting on the behavior board, but not always. But anyway, that's about it. So thanks so much for joining us. We'll talk again next time. Happy parenting.
Thanks for tuning in. If you're ready to dive deeper, check out BratBusters.com to learn more about the behavior board, parenting courses, and private one-on-one coaching with Lisa. If you've enjoyed the show so far, we'd love it if you could take a moment to follow, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback helps us reach more parents just like you. The information provided in this podcast is for general informational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for professional advice. Lisa is a parenting coach, mom, and grandmother. She is not a licensed psychologist or counselor. Her services do not replace the care of psychologists or other healthcare professionals. For a full disclaimer, please visit BratBusters.com/disclaimer.